Hi everyone! So today I decided to spend 100 days in a Minecraft world, but every hour I will be adding a random mod. And you probably already know how we're gonna do that. I prepared this wheel with like 30 and something mods. Hopefully it's gonna be fun. Oh, and before we start, if you will enjoy this video, please press the like button, it will help me a lot. Okay, let's begin. So yeah, I had to play vanilla Minecraft for the first hour before I do my first spin. So I got some wood, got some stone, and also found some coal while was digging for stone. After I killed a few animals for food and wool to make a bed, I accidentally found a little cave where I was able to get some iron. After doing some smelting and cooking, I decided to dig for some more ore and explore the little cave that I found. I did walk around the cave for some time until I actually found my first diamonds. There was 5 of them and I was already thinking what I'm gonna use them for. But then this happened. All I could do is just sit there and watch all my stuff falling into the lava. So I respawned and had to go through the whole process again. I tried to find the cave where I died, but after running around for about 15 minutes, I didn't find anything. So I just gave up right before the nighttime. I managed to find the treasure map, so I went on a little treasure hunt. And the chest I found was actually pretty good. But yeah, it is about time to do my first spin. Really? Really? Why? Okay, that's a bit boring. Should I even bother explaining what this mod does? But yeah, I hope you get my reaction now. I pretty much have to play another hour of vanilla Minecraft. And that's exactly what I did. I did a bunch of mining, and then I did a bunch of exploring. But then I found this. Pink sheep are pretty rare, so I couldn't stop myself from making a pair of shears and saving this pink wool as a trophy. I did end up doing some more cave exploration and actually was able to find some more diamonds. But then I decided to do some strip mining and just randomly found even more diamonds. And it's time to do another spin. Alex's Mobs is a really cool mod that adds a lot of new animals with their own unique qualities and abilities. Obviously, before I could find any new mobs, I had to dig out of this cave. And the first mob I found was the little fly on the top of the mountain. Flies aren't that interesting, and all I learned is that they just really like eating zombies. So yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I did for the first half an hour. Running around different biomes, looking for new mobs, reading about them, trying to find anything interesting about them. Yeah, that's a platypus in a bucket. And then I met Crocodile. Crocodiles aren't that hard to kill, but the first interaction was actually really scary. After killing a crocodile, I got a few crocodile skewers that I can use to craft a pretty cool chestplate that allows me to swim faster in the water. I also got a crocodile egg that I can just place next to my house to have a crocodile protecting my land. I really wanted myself a pet crow, so I took the first opportunity I got, and I succeeded. And then I found even more crows. So I knew that my destiny is to become the true crow lord. Just look at me and my servants. At this moment, I felt almighty, and no one could ever stop me from gaining even more power. But then I found this turtle, and decided to read about it. While I was reading, I noticed the first death message. I tried to run away hoping my crows would follow, but they were already snapped away by this turtle out of existence. So all I could do was just avenge them. Since then, not a single crow wanted to follow my lead ever again. Worldbuilding Plus? I don't remember this one. Worldbuilding Plus is a small mod that adds a few new ores, a bunch of weapons and armor, and a whole bunch of new mobs. I also added Vela to understand from which mod every mob comes from. It didn't take too long until I found my first new mobs, and they were not friendly. And the sad part is, I'm gonna have to deal a lot with them in the future. Then I found a bunch of elves living on a mountain. They didn't have much, but I took all their food that sustained me for a while actually. I pretty quickly found a new ore, and this weird, scary thing in the bottom of a cave. I also want you to remember the sword. It's gonna help me so much in the future. And then I did a lot of swimming. Like, actually, a lot. But then I found this little island that I decided to make my base. It didn't even have a tree, but I just really liked its terrain. So I just placed all I had, including a lot of torches, hoping that it's gonna protect me from orcs. And it didn't help at all. Turns out that the ore I found was actually pretty imbalanced. I made a sword and some armor parts out of it. And of course I placed crocodile eggs. Now all I have to do is just wait. And because I didn't have much time left, I just used it to set up my own mine. Oh, the mod that's not gonna change anything for me for now. I don't really want to explain this one because we're not getting to end for a while, so if you know, you know, if you don't, you will see. So obviously because better end doesn't affect me in any way, I just continue mining. I even found my first Enderman and got my first Ender Pearl, and also found a few more diamonds. In between mining, I did go back up to make myself a better sword, and also gave my platypus a new home in a little pond that I have on my island. But other than that, I was just mining, so it's not really fun to watch. I did end up going on a little treasure hunt, and was able to find two really good treasure chests. Right before my timer would go off, I crafted myself an enchanting table, and got pretty good early game enchantments on my pickaxe. Illustrious Plus. Illustrious Plus adds a bunch of new pillagers to the game, and a few more pillagers related buildings. The only way for me to find anything from this mod is by traveling. But after spending around 25 minutes traveling, which is almost half of the time I have between spins, I just didn't find anything, so I had to return back home. I've got pretty decent enchantments on my armor, and after that I started to work on my island. I added stairs to my mine, made a little farm just in case, because why not? Planted some sugarcane, and at some point I noticed that the crocodile eggs I placed started to show little cracks. I also decided to add more wildlife to my pond so my platypus wouldn't be lonely, and added a little lobster there. And right before the end of my 6th tower in this world, I got some obsidian to make a portal after I do a spin. Really? I feel like it's not fair. And because I felt like it's not really fair for the viewers because you're not gonna hear anything, I decided to roll again. Pretty much all this mod does is adding me additional hearts for eating unique food. And here's my portal. Yeah, nothing special. But my nether spawn was actually pretty bad. I didn't have anything around and was stuck in some cave. I didn't have to hurry to get blaze rods anyway, so I went home to test the new mod. I crafted a book that gave me information about how much unique food I have to eat to gain more health, and what food I have already eaten. And so I ate different things and got my first bonus hearts. I had an ocean temple near my island, and I wanted to loot it for gold and sponges. But I really needed some milk in case of emergency. After doing some traveling, I finally found a few cows and decided that it would be better if I can take them to my home island. So I got rid of the nether portal to make some space for my future cow farm. Okay. As the name suggests, Spartan Shields adds a lot of shields. You can make them out of different materials, and there's also new enchantments specifically for shields. So after taking a closer look and picking a shield for myself, I continued working on my cow farm. On the way to the cows I found seals laying on a beach under the sun and decided to read about them. Turns out you can actually trade with them using fish. And I gave it a try, but he ate all the fish that I gave him and didn't give anything back. And now, when I'm finally done with my cow farm, it is time to do some temple robbing. This temple run didn't take that long. I killed one big guy, took all their gold, killed another big guy, and escaped. At home I was attacked by two not so friendly crocodiles, and after killing them I realized those were actually mine crocodiles. I wanted some more adventures, so I went farther away and built a new nether portal. I forgot to bring golden boots, so I had to deal with that for a moment. Then I did a bit of cheating, got attacked by some weird creature, and redeemed myself after cheating. I randomly found another fortress and decided to get some blaze rods so I wouldn't have to do it later. It was a lot scarier than it looks, and I was close to death a bunch of times, but I got what I wanted and escaped as fast as I could. After I returned home, I placed nether warts on my island. Serene Seasons add seasons to Minecraft. The seasons will affect the growth of your crops and sometimes even the weather. Obviously, to know what time of the year it is right now, I needed a calendar, and I even made a little wall to put it on. After feeding my cows, I went on another trip and was surprised to find a mushroom island not too far from my house. But the most surprising part is that it was completely empty. I found a few hungry raccoons on the way that just really wanted to wash my food. So I gave them a few pieces and watched them. And yeah, I couldn't stop myself from doing this. By the way, you might notice the impact of Serene Seasons on acacias over there. And here's a few more shots from me traveling before I had to do a spin. Oh crap. So because I still had a lot of mods on the wheel and I was halfway done already, I started doing 45-minute cycles from now on. So yeah, I added a few mods with little to no impact just for fun, but I didn't expect to get them all in a row. 15 minutes later I finally got back home to live it again because now I wanted to bring some villagers to my island for trading, and I saw a village next to the place where I found my cows, so yeah, that's where I went. It took me a lot of tries, but this village was in a terrible position for boats. I told you to remember this guy, because he finally decided to give me what I have paid for. At the end, I just went to a different village and stole a villager from there. Infernal Expansion adds a mob to every biome and also adds a bunch of decorative blocks. Because I got Infernal Expansion and I had a lot of gold for trading, I thought it would be a perfect time to go to the Nether once again. I quickly found the new mobs, one in Nether Wastes and one in Soulsand Valley. They don't drop anything special, but they make Nether even more alive. After trading 2 stacks of gold, spending a lot of time standing there, and not getting anything at the end, I went home with the rest of my gold. I killed a few nether mosquitoes and crafted something that is called Blood Sprayer? It is fine, I guess. But yeah, I just spent the rest of my time getting another villager to my island, and I made him a weaponsmith. I'm just gonna call it the Unicorn mod. As you can see, the Unicorn mod adds a lot of new horses with unique abilities. I decided to take a little break from traveling, so I spent the next 45 minutes mostly grinding trades, starting with digging coal and later getting a lot of flint. I wanted to have more villagers, so I cleared some space for them, placed a few beds, and gave them some food. I even decided to make little rooms for them, but then I realized that I'm not that good at building. I also saw some angry whale coming towards me, and I started shooting him, and it was terrifying. He got stuck on the shore, and I couldn't help him, so I just ended his suffering. It made me feel really bad, so let's imagine that this never happened. Okay. Structures, finally. Soaring structures adds floating islands in the sky with different structures on them and sometimes even pretty good loot. To find any new structures, I needed to go to load new chunks. I found a pillager tower on a shore and had to go through so many pillagers just to be able to live it. Then I finally found a new horse from the unicorn mod and tamed it. It was supposed to be fast in water and slow on land, but this one was just slow in general, so I had to say goodbye and leave. Oh, and here is some weird structure with some boss, but with no boss? Yes, I even checked underground. And then I completely forgot that I had bad omen from the pillager tower and I started a raid. Now I had to fight to protect this village from invaders. While I was chased by some beast rider, I saw a huge word defeat written on the top of my screen. In rage, I dealt with those who were chasing me and rushed to the village just to find it taken over by pillagers, and with not a single villager left alive. I had to run away in shame and promise to never put villagers in danger ever again. Then I built up to the first stirring structure that I found and discovered a pretty good protection for diamond chestplate. Sadly, it had Curse of Vanishing, but I wasn't planning to die anytime soon, so I took it. I also found an Iron Prot 4 helmet that also had the Curse of Vanishing on the same island. Yeah, I lost both of my armor pieces just 2 minutes after discovering them. The other island I found wasn't that impressive, and I ended up having to spin in the middle of towering to another island. I wish I had this mod a bit earlier. I looted a few more islands and found myself a few more decent armor pieces before I finally went to my home island. At home I made myself a trophy wall because I remembered my pink wool that I picked up early on. I also placed my crocodile chestplate that helped me a lot, but now it was just about to break, so I didn't really need it anymore. I grinded some more coal and flint and traded for the rest of the time I had. Yeah, I didn't have much interesting going on during these 45 minutes, mostly because getting back home took a while actually. But I promise that the next mod is going to make it slightly more interesting. Ooh. Okay. Ocean expansion adds a bunch of ocean related mobs, items, structures, armors, and blocks. Black and white is a good color combination, but I think it looks even worse now. While I was busy with housing problem, I noticed some weird human-like creatures in the ocean, and of course they were not friendly. I hope it looks better now. And of course I can't stay away from exploring more ocean. I found some new versions of drowned and some kind of ocean spiders. After doing some exploring I found a new ocean dungeon. I obviously took a closer look inside and I need more doors. Each level had stronger and stronger enemies, with the Drowned Lord and his knights waiting on the lowest level. And they were really strong. After fighting them for a while, they finally got me. So here I am, thousands of blocks away from my home, because I broke my bed after skipping a night next to the dungeon. But of course, I didn't give up. Inventory paths adds paths to your inventory. They all have their own abilities and there is like so many of them. You can craft most of them or find them in a dungeon. I finally returned to my island and the first thing I did is setting up spawn point, of course. And then I took all the gear I had and even my old chestplate and went back to the dungeon. Then I looked for my body, found it and died again to the Lord's army. Now all I have left is iron leggings and 2 golden apples, so I decided to play it smart. I got to my body, escaped, dug under the dungeon to break the spawner, and spent like a century killing the boss. After I killed him I got diamond boots, leggings and trident with max enchantments. I felt unkillable with those, so I died to drown to prove myself wrong. I had to go back again so I could die again. I did a little research on inventory pets and realized how useful they actually are. First I made Iron Golem, who is pretty much gives me another row of health. And then I made a brewing stand and the first potion I got was water breathing. So Relics adds relics to the game. They all have their own passive and sometimes even active ability, and you can find them in an appropriate for them dungeon. I rolled potions until I got something useful. And when I got invisibility potion, I wondered if it's actually gonna work. And as you can see, it did. I safely grabbed all my stuff and left this place for good. After I got back home, I started making different pets that can be potentially useful for me. First I made an anvil, which fixes all my armor and tools, ender chest, and a house who pretty much teleports me back home whenever I want. I also made magma cube that gives me fire resistance and gives me an ability to walk on lava. Because I was going to Nether, it was really useful. So you may wonder why am I in the Nether again? You probably remember that OP armor that I got from Drowned Lord. It would be very silly of me to not make it into a netherite armor. Netherite is pretty rare, so it took me until the rest of the time I had, and even some time after I did the spin to get enough for a full netherite armor. This mod wasn't adding much, so I just continued mining netherite for like half of the time I had. After I got enough netherite, I teleported back home and smelted all the netherite. And just look at this. Thanks to inventory pets and this armor, I actually started to finally enjoy the game. After mining some iron for trading with villagers, I finally decided it is time to build myself a house. I even got to use the iron chest mod. Better Animal Plus adds more real-world animals to the game. Yeah, I wanted 2 animal mods just in case I will not roll one of them. I needed blocks to finish my roof, so I had to go back to the nether again. Thanks to me being able to walk on lava, traveling in the nether became so much easier. Then I found some random mob, and while I was charging my trident, I accidentally teleported myself back home using my house pet. Yeah. At least now I could finish my house, and I also added a few windows. I didn't know that it was possible, but a tree with a beehive grew on my island. To find new animals, I went on a little trip. In a desert temple, I found my first relic. It gives a few interesting bonuses, but most importantly, it increases my speed in a desert. Later, I found a herd of nightmares, which seems to be some hellish type of horse with wings and fire all around. Of course, I wanted one for myself. After taming it and learning how to fly, I built up to some cloud looking thing above me. It had a chest with another portal pet and a few invisible mobs. After that, I had to go back home without teleporting because of the horse. We made a pit stop on some soaring island, but flying was actually so stressful, mostly because I didn't really know what I was doing. We ended up crashing on some lonely island, and later we crashed in the middle of the ocean, which wasn't really nice because you need a solid ground to start flying again. Chance cubes adds cubes that gives you something completely random when you break them. After a few more crashes, we finally got to my island and had a safe landing in my pond. I gave my horse his own place and wanted to test my new nether portal pet. I landed in the middle of a lava lake right next to a ruined portal. It contained boots that also were letting me walk on lava, so now I had a double protection from drowning in lava. And I've got myself my first chance cube. While I was traveling, I was attacked by some skeleton lava serpent, which I admit is really interesting idea so lava lakes would have more fauna. I located a bastion and it was a treasury, so I had pretty high expectations. I fought off the pigs to find a netherite ingot in a chest. Before I left, I also found this necklace that is going to help me so much in the future because it reflects attacks and projectiles. And a few more netherite scraps that actually let me make netherite sword and a pickaxe. I did some more mining for experience before I would do another spin, but didn't get any good enchantments on my sword. Better weather increases the variety of weather by adding more types of it. This 45 minutes weren't the most interesting one, so I'll make it quick. I spent some time mining for experience to re-enchant my sword and pickaxe, and did end up getting almost the best enchantment on my pickaxe. Did a bit of looting for chance cubes, found a cow pad that clears negative effects, finally found a mob from Better Animals Plus, and went to an island next to mine to build and open a big chance cube. Now I had my own beacon. Mouse's mobs adds a bunch of unique and very well made mobs. I just randomly remembered that there is a horse armor that I can craft, and that's what I did. While I was farming ender pearls, I was able to find a mob from Mouse's mobs, which I'm happy about because I didn't expect to find any due to how little time I have left, so it was nice despite how easily I defeated it. You probably know what those pearls are for. In combination with what I already had, it should be just enough to start looking for a portal. After some time I noticed something underwater and it turned out to be a stronghold. It took me around like 12 minutes, but I finally found the portal room. I made a little water elevator and marked it because I still needed to go back to my island to make sure I have all I need before I have to fight the dragon. Random loot mod adds loot bags. They can drop a random weapon or a tool of different rarity, and sometimes with some passive effect. I returned to my island and the first thing I did was adding my trident to the trophy wall. I wanted to mark my ocean exploration, and after I grabbed all I needed, I went back to the portal room. And now it is finally time to take a look on the mod that I wrote like ages ago. I was met by a biome full of colorful crystals and I already knew it's gonna be quite a trip. Everlasting abilities adds ability totems that contain a random potion effect. You can find them around the world, and you can permanently attach to yourself using experience. Of course, the whole point was to find elytras, but for now I found only a huge empty shroom, and a bunch of well-made biomes. I finally got lucky and found the end city, but it didn't have anything even close to elytras, so I had to continue looking. While I was taking a look at the inside of some sulfuric volcano, I noticed I had something new in my inventory. Turns out it was an ability bottle added by everlasting abilities that lets you get yourself a passive ability, but the one I got wasn't that useful. Despite cool biomes, I got very tired of mining and building between islands, and because I didn't have much time left, I decided to leave right after I do a spin. Really? The last mod? Oh my god. Dragons. Dragons. Oh, and all the other mobs. It is very sad that I've returned with no elytras on my back, but I finally got my favorite mod that I wished I got a lot earlier. Dragon Egg obviously had to go on the wall, but I had one more spot to fill and I just knew a perfect item. It is time for my last trip. On the way I was charmed and attacked by sirens and a serpent, but because of how strong I am at this point, they couldn't do anything to me. While I was running through mountains, I finally got attacked by a lightning dragon. Oh no. The fight was a huge mess and I even got scared for some reason, but at the end I did get what I wanted. There was some more time left, so I continued traveling. I robbed and then killed a Cyclops and got his eyes the reward. I finally found at least one building from Illustrious Plus. The loot there wasn't that good, so I rushed to the highest floor to find and slay their king. And just left after that. Not so long later, I discovered a huge underwater cave that turned out to be a lair of a high-level ice dragon. And thanks to this annoying serpent, it woke up, so I had to run. Oh no. I woke him up. Oh no. After I got frozen for the first time, running wasn't really an option. And I tried to fight back, but was getting constantly frozen under the water. And when it got too scary, I had to use my escape tool. It is sad that I couldn't kill the dragon, but I already had a dragon skull anyway, which will be the last trophy. I wanted to open one more giant chance cube before the end, and I got this. It didn't have anything inside, and at some point it just stopped growing, so I just left it there. Yeah, it wasn't the most impressive cube. I made sure all my villagers are max level, and spent some time looking for my platypus, grabbed my horse, and together we watched my last sunset in this world. After that After that I slept on my bed just to end my last day in this world. And here it is. It was an interesting experience. And I've got to learn about a few new mods that I will definitely add to my future mod packs. But for those who watched until this moment, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. See ya!